My mum and dad built their house on a small patch of orchard. So that at this time of year, my mum has apples and pears appearing, as well as beans and plums and tomatoes and potatoes. Maybe that's why I love that word fruitfulness, which is such a biblical idea, not least in the words of Jesus in John 15. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. In the garden, there's clearly a real human commitment. Digging and planting and regular watering and picking. But it's God who brings about the fruit. Gardeners faithfully do their thing, but God ultimately brings growth and fruit. So remain in me, says Jesus, for apart from me, you can do nothing. Which indicates some human commitment, but ultimately recognizes that fruit, the real fruitfulness of kingdom growth in individuals and society, comes only by the hand of God. Paul recognizes it in his church ministry, as he says to the Corinthians, people that he calls God's field, those who are cultivated for fruitfulness. He says, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. Paul also writes in his letter to the Colossians this, we have not ceased praying for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of all his will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. Once again, we note the human commitment, the faithfulness of learning and walking in a manner worthy of the Lord. But once again, we see that fruitfulness, bearing fruit in every good work, ultimately comes from the work of God in us. For how does this passage begin? We have not ceased praying, asking that you may be filled. Paul is looking to God for the growth. I certainly don't want to minimize the call to human faithfulness in the digging, in the planting, in the watering. But I do want to maximize our realization that fruit only comes from God. Indeed, the fruit of the Spirit is exactly that. God at work in us by his Spirit. We have not ceased praying, says Paul. Don't just do something, sit there. Don't simply keep doing things, but do keep praying. Don't think it all depends on your doing. Pray to God for fruitfulness. And because God gives the growth, it can come even when our expectations have taken a huge dent. This is our miracle tree. We called it the miracle tree growing up. It was a miracle if it ever produced fruit. Lovely blossom, no fruit. We never expect it to produce anything, but over the last couple of years, it has inexplicably borne fruit. It's a miracle. But then, so is all fruit. It all comes from the hand of God. I wonder, has lockdown lowered our expectation of fruitfulness? Of what God can and will do in and through and around us? Should it? Is the miracle working, growth-giving, fruit-producing God limited by us or anything around us? How might we ask God for fruitfulness in our lives, in our families, in our church, for love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control? How might we ask God for fruitfulness in the lives of those we know and in our community who don't know Jesus yet? Let's be praying for the Alpha course that begins online on the 2nd of September with other churches in South Belfast. May it be fruitful. May God give the growth. How might we ask God for fruitfulness in our nation, to bring kingdom transformation even out of lockdown? Let's pray for fruitfulness.